Good evening. Obviously, I'm not Dr. Greenbrier Almond. Greenbrier is my brother, and he's a new grandfather as of this spring. He has 2 granddaughters, and so he's visiting grandchildren. And he asked me, since I was visiting in town these couple weeks, to come and fill in on his program and talk to you all for Tender Loving Care. And some of you have been with Greenbrier's program for years and years, and know that he tries to incorporate the holistic view of life, that of medicine, with your spiritual life. And I don't know a lot about medicine. I grew up in a medical household. My father was a physician, and of course Greenbrier's a physician, and his wife and his daughter. But I'm not. I have a teaching degree. I'm Ruthie Almond Viviora, and I'm a missionary. My husband and I have been with Campus Crusade for Christ since 1976. We first served overseas in Poland, and we lived in Warsaw, Poland for most of that time. And then we moved to Orlando, Florida 16 years ago with our 2 sons to work at the headquarters of Campus Crusade for Christ. So I've become a big city person, although I grew up here in Buchanan. I graduated from Buchanan Upshur High School in 1971 and Marshall University in 1976. I love West Virginia, and I love any opportunity I can come back to West Virginia. And it's wonderful to come here in the summertime where it's a lot cooler than Orlando, Florida. Last week I was on Greenbrier's program, and I interviewed Mike Oldacre. Mike Oldacre, you may remember, runs the bookstore, or ran the bookstore, which is closing after all these years. His Uncle Joe had it when I was a little girl, and his parents helped with the bookstore. But Mike's selling the building where the bookstore is. Maybe we can twist his arm to open a little bookstore someplace else, because it's really nice for a community to have a little bookstore. In fact, when I was sitting here waiting for you, I was reading a book, which has been... But Mike was here to talk last week about the music and music that he knows about here in Upshur County. And if you didn't see the program last week, it was a delightful interview, just because Mike knows so much about what's going on music-wise here in central West Virginia. And you can view these programs afterwards on YouTube and go to Channel 3 Buchanan and see. Anyway, Mike, for the last almost 2 years, has had a jam session, or they call it the train wreck, at his store, the bookstore. On Friday nights, musicians come and play. It's very spontaneous, it's free, and a few audience people who are non-musicians, like myself, like to go when we're in town on Friday nights. So I asked Mike to come and just tell us about what happened with this music. The reason and how this fits into Greenbrier's program is that and it's my philosophy and theology, that God is very present with us through, of course, through the Bible, the Word, and through Jesus Christ, and through the Holy Spirit who lives within believers. But God uses creation to draw us to Himself and to encourage us as His children once we know Him in a personal way through Jesus. And some of the ways that He draws us to Him through creation is through the arts. And I'm not artistic at all myself. My sister Kay has a wonderful sense of art. My sister Ann still plays the piano some and sings some. And my sister Beth has an artistic spirit about her in all the friends she meets and knows. And I don't have that kind of artistic ability, but I like art. I love visual arts, from paintings to watercolors to pottery. I'm not a jewelry person, but I like the arts. But also through gardening and flowers, and I have a little bit of a garden in Orlando, mainly container garden. But also through music. And again, I don't know a lot about music, but this community, what I want to say is, being here in Buchanan, I have discovered these last almost 3 weeks that I've been here, or rediscovered to my delight, all the opportunities for culture, music included, of course, and a big part of it, And I just wanted to encourage you who are listening to know that there are wonderful, wonderful things here in Buchanan that are very nourishing for your soul and very good for the community. And community takes place at a lot of these events or gatherings or things that you can do. And I just thought I'd share with you a little bit of some of what I've seen these 3 weeks. And that's why Mike came on last week, Mike Oldacre, to talk about music that happens at his bookstore. So I want to go back to the music a little bit. You've maybe or maybe not, but 3 weeks so far, I think out of 16, there's been music in Jawbone Park, which is downtown Buchanan, across from the post office, on Friday nights. And I went last Friday night, even it had rained, but then it cleared up some. And a band was playing, 3 people. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the band, but there was a band playing, and there were several booths with local vendors, from food to some woodwork to the people who have the art co-op. Some food you could buy too, some already to eat food, as well as some local grown items and honey. But then the music was there, and I just sat and listened to the music, and it was wonderful. Bluegrass music, an opportunity for local people, Central West Virginia people, to play their music and for Central West Virginia people to enjoy it. I also was so encouraged by the diversity of people there, from little teeny kids, someone was holding a baby and dancing a lot of the time, to older people, to middle-aged, like there were. And also there were lots of teenagers and young teens on their bicycles riding around. It was just a very good community feel to it. Those concerts are going to continue throughout the summer. And there's a whole committee that puts those together, and the people that own C.J. Maggie's are on that committee. So you might want to drop into C.J. Maggie's and thank them for being part of that, because that's a wonderful cultural event here. Then after, on Friday nights, is when Mike has the jam sessions at his, I don't know what else to call them other than jam sessions, because sometimes a few people will play a few songs and then someone else will play a few songs. The first Friday night I was back and I went, there were maybe 30 people there, but 15 of them were musicians. Banjo player, harmonica, I think there was an auto harp, a 12-string guitar, and a bass. It was wonderful. And of guitars, regular guitars too, of course, and singers, people who would sing. So I guess one of the reasons I really wanted Mike to come on last week was also that the bookstore is closing, as I said at the beginning of the program, and they need a new venue, a new place to have this jam session, a place where musicians will feel comfortable, where people can come in and without a cover charge. Again, it's not a place where any drinks are sold or anything, or food. It's just a place for musicians to, and maybe musicians that haven't played for a while, who are a little scared to get up in front of a stage, but could feel comfortable in a room full of friendly faces to play. And so if you have an idea, or you're on city council, or on the Stockard Youth Center board, or you're part of city development, or part of the tourism for Buchanan, these are wonderful. This is a wonderful thing that's happening, and maybe you could get in touch with Mike Oldacre and help him find a place that would be just right for these musicians to get together and this Friday night continue. This is not unique to Buchanan. This is a movement that's happening across small towns in America, that storefronts are opening after hours, and little places where musicians are getting together. Part of that whole phenomena is also some musicians that are, as they get better, hire themselves out then to go into someone's home for a party. My brother-in-law down in North Carolina loves jazz and bluegrass and individual music like this, and he's had some different musicians come to his home, like at Christmas time, or maybe for a birthday party for himself or for his business or neighborhood, and he's had people come and a person come and play, and then they do a party at their home where they invite guests to come. It's paying guests to come and listen to this musician play. So that's part of the cultural phenomena that's happening across the United States, and it's happening in a way here in Buchanan with what Mike's doing. But Mike's is totally free, and some wonderful musicians that play. I've heard some good music and some people that are just getting back into it. So that's one of the reasons I said yes when my brother asked me to be on his program. I've been on his program, interviewed by him before, but I've never just been here when I've been the interviewee, like I did with Mike last week, and certainly not when I've just come and talked to you. This is Greenbrier Almond's program, Tender Loving Care, and it's based on the holistic idea of medicine, in case you're just tuning in. That's why I'm telling you that. And I'm Greenbrier's sister. For some of you, Greenbrier has 4 sisters. Kay's the oldest and lives here in town, and Ann lives in Durham, North Carolina. I'm Ruth. I'm the 4th child of my parents, and my little sister Beth, whom probably a lot of you know because Beth knows so many people. And Beth lives down in Meadows of Dan, Virginia. So Greenbrier asked me to come and talk on his show. And I thought, what could I talk about? And I wanted to talk about you, the community of Buchanan, and all the wonderful things you have going on here. So I've touched a little bit on the music. And also, there are things you know from the newspaper that you see, like there's a Upshur County Fair that goes on at Rock Cave later on in the summer. There's the game farm up at Rock Cave. There's the Jamboree, the Jawbone Creek Park Friday night festival that goes on. That's some of what I've observed while I've been here. But there's been some other things, because I think some people may sit around saying, I'm bored, or there's no opportunity for me to do anything in Buchanan or central West Virginia. And I just wanted to give you some ideas and heads up that there are some wonderful things to do here. Another thing that I have found that I've done is there on Main Street, there's a artist co-op. They're open more hours now. They were just open on weekends, or long weekends, but now they're open, I think, Tuesdays through Saturday at least. I'm not sure. The hours are posted. They're across from the Dairy Queen, which is a wonderful place, a Buchanan institution too, that's still there and still running quite nicely. My sister Kay and I had an ice cream cone this afternoon. But right across the street is the art co-op. And wonderful, wonderful artists are right here in Upshur County. And some of the things that they've made are there in the art co-op. You may be aware of Hinkle Glass out at Frenchton. And you can go to Ron Hinkle's shop. You can buy some of his glass there. But also, at different times in the day, he has his shop, he's working on the glass, and you can observe it, and he's happy to explain how it's done. It's very interesting. I had a friend visiting from Pennsylvania last summer, and she and I went out. It's an old craft. It could be a dying craft, and yet Ron's keeping it alive, and his glass is beautiful pieces too. That's right here in our midst, and his work is out there at the Artist Co-op, as well as, I can't mention everybody, it's not just Upshur County, but it is Central West Virginia people whose work is there. Some watercolor and artists and photography, Linger Chair Factory, there's some of the chairs there. My sister bought a bird feeder that's just as cute as can be that I love from there, a ceramic. I bought for myself one of the, you put it on your car, because I'm going to be proud when I go back to Orlando. I usually don't put any decals on my car because I don't want people to blame whoever I'm supporting on my car for my lousy driving, although I'm not necessarily a lousy driver. But I have a decal of the Buchanan painting, that the emblem, the Bakachahana, the Indian, and the Pioneer, the painting that's there across from the courthouse. They've made a decal, and those are on sale down at the Art Co-op store. So take a little time to go into the Art Co-op store. Or if you really are supportive of the arts and need someplace to volunteer, they need someone to volunteer there at different times for like just a shift. You could do it once a week for 4 hours, and that helps them keep the store open more, and then more people can come and visit the shop and won't be discouraged if they go and it's closed. There's an art co-op store over in Elkins too. Again, I'm trying to promote Upshur County and the arts here, and how those arts feed your soul. But there's an art co-op over in Elkins that's the same, very similar to what we have here in Buchanan. And just speaking of Elkins, something you could do, Augusta is, and you might look that up online, the Augusta Festival, there's each week from starting soon, I don't know if it started this week or not, for about 6 or 7 weeks. Every week there's a time where musicians come and artists come and dancers come and do different kind of music for a week long, and there's workshops. But for the public who don't do the workshops, you can go do the workshops, of course, and that's exciting. But for those of us who just want to enjoy, on Tuesday and Thursday nights, they have concerts for a very minimal fee, and you can go and listen to these musicians. And some of them have come from who are well known and professionals. So you could try that out, but go to Augusta.com and see if you can find out more information about that. Or also you can call West Virginia Tourism. Just call on the phone and you can find out information. Again, the reason I'm saying this is there are many ways to feed your spirit, and this is Greenbrier Almond's program, and Greenbrier, my brother, talks about spirituality and medicine. And I think as you feed your spirit and delight in all of the good gifts God has given us through music or through sight, we have a healthier outlook on life. And all through volunteerism, as we help others. I think helping others is an important aspect of being healthy. My brother-in-law helps with the Opportunity House, which is a house that helps recovering alcoholics and I think substance abuse people. So he volunteers with that, and that's a wonderful way to volunteer. There's also, of course, many of you volunteer through your churches, and that's the churches around here reach out. Every little way everyone reaches out helps another. There's a million problems out there, but each of us do a little part, and it helps in the whole. Sometimes you may think, oh, I'm just doing a little teeny bit, but it helps in the whole. So I want to mention another way people can help is down at the parish house. That's through the United Methodist Churches in Upshur County, but that's across from the college. There's a parish house where there's some food distribution, and people are helped with social services and how to get social services. But they need volunteers too, and volunteers help keep order there and interview people and more people who, and I'm not sure exactly all they do, but you could drop by the parish house if you would like to do a shift of helping the parish house. Also, right next to the parish house, there is a little thrift store that they do. But go down and check, because sometimes one way people can help is sometimes after you've had a yard sale, what do you do with the things that you didn't sell? And so the parish house has a thrift store. Again, that helps people. Anybody can go to the thrift store, but also people who have a hard time making ends meet can get clothes that they need for their, like babies and things like that there. But you also, if you have your yard sale, another way you can help is drop your things off at Goodwill or the Salvation Army. I'm just mentioning some of the ways that here in Buchanan you can get involved. And you may be saying, Ruthie, I'm home and I'm homebound and I really can't get involved very much. And that's where I would also say, aren't we blessed to have the library, the Upshur County Library here in town? It's well stocked. There's newspapers there. You can get books to read, and I'm sure there are videotapes and DVDs. So there's opportunity to do reading too, and maybe you'd want to start a book club. My little sister Beth, when she lived here in town, was part of a book club, and there was just a group of friends that got together and decided that they would read books together. And you might want to start that. Again, a way to inspire your and grow in your spirit and appreciate the things in life, the good things in life. And doing that in community with some other people really feeds your heart and your soul. And I think it's part of our spiritual life. And you're thinking, Ruthie, how you're being a little philosophical here and talking. Maybe I am. I should tell you maybe a little bit about myself. my husband Rich and I have been and continue to be with Campus Crusade for Christ. It's a Christian organization that's non-denominational. We happen to be United Methodists, but that there are people in our organization that are from all kinds of different backgrounds. And there are different ministries under the umbrella of Campus Crusade for Christ. We happen to be at the world headquarters in Orlando. Not that I would necessarily choose Orlando, but I've tried to make it my home. And come November, December, I like Orlando well enough. We raised our boys there, and they went to the university there. And now Chris, our younger, is off in grad school. He's a creative writing major, which is something I didn't really mention. I mentioned about reading books and going to the library and volunteering at the library. There's another place you can volunteer. But there's writing too. My little sister Beth does writing workshops. She's going to start it as a profession pretty soon. So some of you might want to sponsor some writing workshops. She could take a trip back up to visit Kay and my sister Kay, who lives in town, or Greenbrier, who obviously lives here in town. And while she's here, she could do a writing workshop. Again, she charges because she's professional on this. But they're delightful, delightful. And you think, oh, I could never write. And I thought I couldn't. But I went to one of Bethy's workshops a few years ago, and she guides and leads you, just gives you a topic, and there's a group of people together. Again, does it in community, and you write your stories and you share your stories, and you think, oh, I can do this. I can write a little bit. But if you're homebound and you're reading and reading and you're thinking, what else can I do? Or you can't get out much, again, writing something you might try do. I'm not big on poetry. My son Chris is, our son Chris is, and my sister Kay loves poetry, but you could try poetry or hymn writing. You could write some praises to God and to our Savior, Lord Jesus Christ. Or you could also just write short stories or memoirs, which kind of gives you a little insight into us sisters. My brother, Greenbrier, some of you may be familiar that my father wrote a book, Stories of a West Virginia Doctor, and Greenbrier collected more stories, and actually he used the tapes from interviews of Daddy from this Channel 3 TV show over the years. After Dad was gone, he went through all the tapes from the past and found more stories, so he has more stories of West Virginia Doctor. And then Greenbrier, a man of vision and ideas all the time, decided that he wanted to write some from his childhood, just childhoods of 50s and 60s growing up in Buchanan. So he's written several stories, but he has us sisters write some stories too. So we had a writing workshop in February at my sister Ann's house in North Carolina, and I flew up from from Orlando for that. It was kind of fun because it was my birthday, and I hadn't been with my siblings on my birthday since I was 14 or 15 years old, because they started being away at college by then. So that was kind of interesting to celebrate my 59th birthday with them. But we did some writing, and the four sisters and I, me included, not my brother this time, because he's off visiting grandchildren, are going to get together and write the next couple days at my sister Beth's down in Meadows of Dan, Virginia. Again, just to try to get these stories together, and Greenbrier's going to put them together in a book. So I'm not sure when it'll be published, but hopefully it'll be interesting to some of you. Some of the stories of our memories of downtown Main Street, and the bookstore certainly would be on that memories, and it's sad to see it go. So again, I came on initially last time to say I wanted you to see if there was anyone out there who could help with getting a venue, a place for the train wreck, the music jamming time on Friday nights after 8, from 8 to midnight or 1 even. Stockard Youth Center might be a place, but again, that all needs worked out. But somebody listening, you might have some ideas of where this group could meet. Speaking of ideas, this was another thing that Buchanan, someone here that's listening might, have a vision for, would be, I know there's a senior center. I also know that my sister Kay and I went yesterday to Belington to a lap pool where it's a senior center where there were over, I think, 15 or 16 women having a water aerobics, but it has to be a lap pool that's only about 3 feet deep. and it was relatively warm, and there's a woman that leads the aerobics, but we went to Belington for that, and they got that through a grant, a government grant for seniors. And there's no reason Buchanan, in fact, half the women there were from Buchanan. And we need a place like that in Buchanan. The college uses the pool for college swimming and for other swimming events, but we need that in Buchanan, something like that. And maybe someone would like to write a grant that the armory, the old armory, they're building a new armory, and maybe that old armory could become a swimming pool and a track around it for seniors to use, or anyone for that matter. But that would be a wonderful idea. Again, a vision. Someone's going to have to write the grant. Someone's going to have to be interested in that. So I challenge, maybe one of you is listening. And that would be because, and why am I mentioning this on Dr. Greenbrier-Almond's program, Tender Loving Care? Because holistic life is important to Greenbrier, from your health, mental and physical health, and also the spiritual life, and your spirit is fed by the cultural things that I've been talking about tonight. And your physical life, of course, medicine and taking good care of your body mentally, reading, praying, walking, talking to God, being in community with other people, and your physical well-being and things like water aerobics, or, of course, the wonderful, wonderful outdoor track down by the college is good. So I have enjoyed very much visiting with you. I hope maybe I've given you a sense of how proud I am of the things that are going on here in Upshur County, and maybe some ideas of how you might get involved in even more here in Buchanan. And it's been just a delight to visit with you here through Greenbrier's program. And Greenbrier will be back soon, and you'll be able to hear his visions and deeper thoughts. And we're real proud of him and happy that he has this program. And I know some of you enjoy him very much. But it's been a privilege for me to be able to be here and say that my soul has been nourished by being here in Buchanan, because Buchanan is just a wonderful, wonderful place to be. And again, it's beautiful, and the flowers and the weather, but also just the community that you are part of and that we are blessed to be part of, and the opportunities that are here. So thank you very much for visiting with me and letting me be invited into your living room through Greenbrier's program. And thank you, Greenbrier, for letting me talk to your audience tonight. So this is the sister, Ruth Almond Vifiora, of Dr. Greenbrier-Almond, and this is his program, Tender Loving Care. And I've been just delighted to visit with you this evening. So thank you for giving me your attention and for letting me have this opportunity. Good night.